Good morning and welcome back to BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information. Today I'm joined once again by Ian Matheson for What the Papers Say. So Ian, thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Brooke. I hope you are too.
Yeah, I am indeed, thank you.
Well, we'd better crack on because there's a lot of news that should be of interest to BIFA's members that's happened in the last week. There was a really good article on the Lodestar website which sort of gave a summary of all the new alliances in the container shipping trades. I think it's based on analysis from a maritime intelligence platform called EEC. And two findings stood out for me. They said that scheduled liner capacity on the Asian North Europe trade is set to be reduced by around 11% once the new alliances have transitioned into their new setups. But it also said the number of individual weekly sailings between Asia and North Europe is expected to increase from, I think there's 26 offered by the previous alliances, and that's going to go up to 28. The Lodestar article and the entire EEC analysis can be seen in the links in the panel below.
And it's a very good summary and it's one that will be of interest to our members in this area, so thank you.
Yeah, I hope so, yeah. There's also a very interesting article on the Sea Trade Maritime website that says that flourishing uncertainty in container markets is forcing shippers and carriers and forwarders into new contracts. It summarises recent analysis by the likes of Drury and Linealytica and Zenita, and kind of tries to make sense of the fast-moving geopolitical changes that are sort of underpinning and driving that volatility.
Right,
It
okay.
um, it includes an interesting appraisal of why index linked contracts are growing in momentum at the moment, apparently.
hmm I hear, of course, that they can remove that need for renegotiation when those freight rates either rise or decline.
Yeah, I think that's the theory, Brooke, indeed. Yeah. Um, Over in the USA, the International Longshoremen's Association are due to vote today, apparently, uh, whether to ratify the 6-year master contract that the union negotiated with the terminal operation people and the ocean carriers that are represented by the United States Maritime Alliance. What I read ahead of the vote, nothing was being taken for granted. The ILA president, Harold Daggett, wrote to members asking each of them to approve the agreement by voting yes to its ratification.
And I'm sure that anyone moving containers through these ports that are covered by that agreement, I'm sure they're hoping for a vote in favour. So keep our fingers crossed there.
Yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, yeah. Um, Last week, there was an interesting piece of news in the UK that the Competition and Markets Authority's initial assessment of GXO's takeover of Wincanton found that it's likely to reduce competition in the supply of dedicated warehousing to the grocery
Mm-hmm.
customers in the UK. That's a bit of a blow, I think, to the progression of the deal, as a phase two investigation is now being deemed necessary by the CMA.
Mm-hmm. And of course, off of the back of that, GXO provided a pretty powerful statement in regards to that conclusion that the CMA came to. So we'll put a link to that in the description below.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll come up with a solution at some point. Um, Seatrade Maritime News, they reported on DP World's order for four key cranes for Southampton, and it said that they will be the largest such key cranes in Europe, capable of quad lifts, moving two 40-foot containers from the ship to the quayside.
And I hear they're looking to get those units from, I think it's the middle of next year as well, isn't it? So we'll see how that develops.
That's right. Something that BIFA has covered quite extensively, but worth a reminder to members is that from the 1st of April, the EU's customs pre-arrival safety and security system, the Import Control System 2, will require rail and road carriers to provide data on goods sent to or through the EU prior to their arrival, through I think it's called a complete entry summary declaration.
Yes, and like you said, Ian, this is something that we've covered in a lot of detail. I know there was an article in February's BIFA Link, and we've also done an episode of BIFA Link TV on this topic. So, again, like always, we'll pop a link to those in the description.
Okay. Moving over into the air cargo market, I read that changes to trade policy are having an impact, and some new analysis last week by Freightos suggests that the looming cancellation of the de minimis eligibility for Chinese imports is expected to significantly reduce the surge of e-commerce goods arriving in the USA by air, which has, as you know, kept planes full and air cargo rates elevated since late
Yeah, of course.
2023.
And I hear, of course, that this cancellation is on hold, so we'll see how that develops over time.
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of a pause in that, but I also think there's going to be things taking place in other countries about de minimis, and the
Mhm.
European Union have said something about it as well.
Yeah.
Final story this week. Hope people have stayed with me to the bitter end, as I say. It's all about Robert Jervis, who many of your members know. He's the guy that runs the multimodal event, well, him and his team, up in Birmingham. I hear that in April he's going to try and walk 133 miles from Clarion Events HQ in Fulham to the NEC in Birmingham. It's all in homage, apparently, to the little-known mode of inland waterways, and he's planning to walk along the Thames to Brentford, and from there along the Grand Union Canal to near Solihull, and from there on to the exhibition hall at the NEC. It's quite interesting because he's planning to raise funds for TransAid, which is the multimodal exhibitions charity partner, as well as BIFAs, of course. And he's looking for people to keep him company, and as well as sponsorship, which can be done via the Just Giving link in the panel below. Now, I know you live en route, Brooke, so I hope you can join him for a few miles.
I think I've got the cold that day. I don't think I'm well that day. But we do certainly wish him well on his very, very long adventure. Thank you so much, Ian, for providing these articles as always. The links to everything we've discussed will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching today's edition of BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information.